He may look fast, but he's actually going only 120 is his potential speed.
I get, okay, so see, it says pause recording. So we're recording now. All right, so let's start fresh. Welcome everyone to our first members webinar Q&A. And let's see who all we have on. We got Sifu with his students, so this will be really great. So if there's any questions with partner stuff, he can have them demonstrating, and he's expanding right before your eyes. So we have Sifu Phu, Sifu Larry.
This is why, guys.
Well, I look back, they think I'm gonna add like 10 pounds, so I got like 4 pounds.
And I want to give a shout out to our members that we have on. We have Catherine, Daniel, Dominic, Ate, Melanie, Robert, and Steven. Welcome everyone. And I want to also give a shout out to a couple members that are not on right now. Let's see, we have Bruce, one of our abbots, signed up to be one of our patrons on our Patreon. For those of you that don't know what that is, we started that a few weeks back ago, and it's a way for members as well as fans to be able to contribute to help Enter Shaolin grow. If you want to check it out, you can go to patreon.com/EnterShaolin. And also want to give a shout out to Robert because he also became one of our Patreons. So thank you. I'll put the link in into the participant section so you guys can see that and check that out. And I also wanted to give a big thank you to Patty because you sent us some love from Hawaii. Did you get the P.O. box I got you?
Yeah, I put it right here.
Okay. So if,
I did my job.
You ladies and gentlemen ever want to send us some love.
That's the right P.O. box number.
It is. Okay. If you ever want to send us some love via mail, you know, whether it's, you know, some gifts or, you know, just a thank you letter or whatever.
Bombs.
Don't send us, don't send us the bombs. No bombs. No bombs. Yeah, no. Nothing dangerous, okay? But if you want to send us some love, you can send it to Enter Shaolin at P.O. Box 1162, Hamilton, New Jersey, 08037.
I know, right?
And I will make sure to put this also in the chat in a little while as well. So for those of you, yeah, Sifu is definitely
You think, Sifu,
funny.
you could clean your school a little bit?
You know, he seems much more serious than Larry, but that's just a facade. Don't believe it, okay? Don't believe everything you see. So for those of you that are on, before I get to the questions that people sent in, is there any questions that you have? And is there anyone that wants to join us via video?
I'm multitasking, just to let you know. So what's the question?
Let's see.
Really, ask anything. Mark likes to get hit a lot.
He does. I've sparked him.
I got studies here that if you have questions, we could use them. Good.
I know they're thinking of how can we hurt Mark?
All right. Well, I'll let you guys and gals figure out what your questions are, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up some of the questions that we received. All right, so Sifu, are you listening?
I'm here.
All right, so Bradley Rogers asked, does Wing Chun work in the streets, in a street fight? And is there any quick finishers to end a fight? And how to defend the aggressive fighter throwing multiple punches and trying to take you down by grabbing the legs?
Well, I wasn't listening. What? No, I'm kidding. Wing Chun works, okay? A lot of people say it doesn't work. It's because most people do Wing Chun wrong. I mean, you can see because they're all about restrictions. That's what Bruce Lee said. You know, he found it too restrictive. Wing Chun today is trained to counter Wing Chun, and so everything that they've learned has been construed to fight straight lines only. You know, a lot of people say, "Well, why throw a hook punch? It's a waste of time. Straight lines are much faster." So they never learn how to deal with it. And biggest problem is they're not training reality of real punches like, because, you know, I always talk about the reason why, like, a Tom Dart in Wing Chun works against a hook punch, and you can see it, and you can go any video on YouTube, you'll see it. They'll be able to stop the hook punch because all the Wing Chun fighters punch with their elbows down. So as long as the elbows down, this will work. But a street fighter or a boxer, they will bring their elbows up. They will bring their shoulders behind, their arms will lift up, and that will change everything, and it won't work. Because everything was designed for straight lines. And you've got to learn how to adapt to energy. You know, that's why it's all about the energy, because you got to feel for change. No punch is just going to be static. It's going to be dynamic. It's going to change whether the guy throws his shoulder, bends his wrist, turns his arms. It doesn't matter. Your job is to be able to connect and adapt to the difference and control that point. Wing Chun is more like hit the point away, hit the point away. The problem with that is when you're pushing, you're sliding, and you're sliding, you lose contact. You lose contact point, then you lose control. And so the guy can slip a punch. That's why the boxing punch they call it slipping the punch, because it slips through. Our goal is not to let the punch slip because we control the point, not try to push the punch away. In terms of how effective is it, any style can be effective if you do it right. More often than not, I always say, like, the technique doesn't fail, you tell the technique. Question and then comes to place is the technique right? And we always look at energy. For us, it's about the energy. And I watch people do blocks, people do punches, and I can see where they're throwing their energy. Most people go from shoulder to hand. They do this, and their shoulders push their hand, and it's wrong. It's the wrong form of energy because your elbow doesn't have any energy. Without the energy in your elbow, you can't feed the hand. It's really a physical impossibility. So it has a weakness to want to break, and so then they compensate that by saying, put more shoulder behind it, put your body weight behind it. So rather than fix the problem where it breaks, they try to enforce the weak point by adding more force, and that comes down to a strength thing, and that's why I think it fails. That's why a lot of times I demonstrate all the time. Like every demo I go, I get strangers and I tell them, punch me as hard as you can. Punch me as hard as you can, and it doesn't matter. And I show how it works, because this isn't about using your strength against them. It's about controlling the point, using your energy against them. In terms of a leg takedown, we do teach anti-grappling techniques. The biggest thing is when someone shoots for your leg, people are afraid of getting grabbed, so they play defensive and they try to get away from it. We teach you to, I won't say embrace it, but engage into it. Rather than get away from the energy, use the energy and put it back to them. So if someone's wrapping my legs, I would root to the ground, become a harder structure to just break the legs, drive the energy forward. So if they're trying to bring my legs backwards, and let's say I get grabbed this way, I will shoot my body down. So I will transfer the energy from being going backwards to on top of them. So, and I demonstrate all the time. Mark, can I use this real quick?
Yeah, I was gonna say, get Mark. Mark needs to throw multiple punches to try to go for your legs.
Rather than me getting away, like trying to get away where the energy feels like it's going backwards, we take that energy when he pushes my legs and use it on top of the opponent. So we convert that down on top of their back rather than try to get away from the energy on the grip. So right here. So rather than try to feel like I'm getting away, so if you look at my energy, where does it look like it's going? It's going towards my leg. But my opponent's pushing me in that direction, so I'm naturally going to fall. So I would take the energy that's hitting me in the leg, the body, whatever, and just stay in front. And here, and instead of trying to get away, I'll root, but I'll also root down. So I'm sending the energy on his back. So the more he pushes me, the more I'm going to drop on his back. The more I drop on the back, the more pressure he's going to get. So the less he's going to push back out. And those are challenge techniques, and that's what we do. We create challenge techniques to make that technique work, not against them, but return to them. Okay, and it's the same thing like you talk about toe punch. Give me toe punch. If you notice, if he does this and I do this, okay, this better this way. You can see it here. Tandar that Wing Chun traditionally does is like this, hook punching. It's gonna break through because you notice I'm basing it on the fact that most people try to keep your elbow down when you hook punch. It works great, you see, because his elbow's down. He turns it up, you're going through, and that's a real punch. That's why you can't commit to the deflection. You have to go to what we call the default hand. Just hit point, and then whatever he does, move anyway, I can adapt. I can accept change. So when he's punching me and I go like this, I'm going to get hit because I'm committed to the motion. Here, I control the point, and so now I'm able to adapt to change. And it's like, well, how do you know how to adapt it? That's training. That's what training is. Your sensitivity is how to deal with the energy. But you basically develop that structural integrity so you can connect to that opponent. Then you can work with one with the form and then control with the steer. That's what we see. That's why as he punches, I have a nice structure in my arms. I don't have to push him. I don't have to pull him away. I just connect. What I feel him do towards my arm, then I can now use it and take it to advantage for that purpose. In terms of like, how well will Wing Chun work in the street fight, like I said, that's going to come down to your training. Everybody's going to be different. And, where you could beat one guy up because he's not so good, and then you fight another guy who's pretty good, you might not win. Because it comes down to it is how well can you handle pressure and maintain your skill in that. If you lose your skill and you start muscling, then it comes down to the strength. Now, if you're strong in the opponent, you can win. If he's stronger than you, he's going to win. And if he's more skilled than you, he's going to definitely kill you. So you have to train to maintain your discipline and fight in that discipline. Most people panic and they break that discipline. That's why they fail. Because you fail the technique will fail you. And it's about training how to handle pressure higher and higher and higher. And that comes with years and years of practice. Hope that helped.
Yeah, I think that's good. Can you have Mark throw like multiple punches at you, like the really aggressive, you know?
Right.
I'm
What
sorry,
we're
Mark,
saying
you're gonna get hurt.
can we
I
have
love you,
Mark
bro.
look like he hurts a little bit more?
But it's gonna hurt.
We're not seeing enough pain.
Well, the goal, like I said, is
Remember, Mark, channel the street thug, okay? The street thug that's going after the poor guy.
when someone throws a punch, our focus is not to defend. Our focus is to counterattack. So we train no matter how he punches, keep your hands where, boom, just move in. So if he punches, then you pow, pow. So you're not playing like this. What you work, see, do I look like I'm going forward or look like I'm going against? And that's the mistake. The mental state I always like to say is, if you're not defending, you choose to defend or attack, what would you rather do? Attack. Most people say attack, yeah. So then why play against defending? Every movement you make when you do this, you're going in. So you can't touch it. So I'm moving in. So I'm always want to put pressure on my opponent, whether it be on his face or his hands or his body. I'm not here to go against him. See, that's where I get hit. I go 2 point, and I'm there. I just hit what I need to hit, just here, and then I'm ready to hit. And I get the root. I don't sit there and go like trying to get away because I don't want to get hurt. I'm going to get hurt by playing defensive. My job is to put the pressure on the opponent. Because if I can put more attack on him, that's less he can attack on me. And any pressure he puts on me, my job is to connect the point so I can turn it back. So if let's say he throws a hook punch, it's like I'm not doing this. I don't look forward, do I? I do this. I'm now in front. So you can see my hands are right there. I'm protecting myself and I'm going for the attack. So my goal is to make sure that I'm hitting point to go forward. I always tell my students, deflection hand should be able to hit without resetting. If it has to reset, then it's not good deflection hand. So if your hands are going like this and try to hit, it's not going to work. But if you can do it like this and go here, boom, and you can move forward without going backwards, then you're getting good deflection hand. That's the training. You have to train for your principles. The principles should be sound, and then you have to apply that to your technique. Then it'll be well. Then it'll do well. But if you're breaking principles, that's why you fail the technique. The technique will fail you. It's about controlling the point from point A to point B. And I call them ricocheting. Anything that he punches, my job is to go forward and just bounce in. So whatever he does, I don't. So now I'm afraid, and I'm playing defensive. My job is to go right into him and move right into the attack. If a guy had a knife and you had a gun, he started stabbing you, what's the first thing you want to do? Shoot. You don't go, well, he could stab me, so let me get the knife off him, then shoot him. No. Your mindset is that bullet's enough to hurt him, to stop him from continuing to stab. Think you fist his bullet and shoot him. Okay? That's the way you want to put in your mindset. If you think that you can get hurt, you're going to play defensive and you're going to try to stop from getting hurt. If you think that you can hurt him first and well, then you're going to wind up attacking more. Like if your finger can go like this and you can smash 10 feet of concrete and just blow up some smithereens, who would you be afraid of? And would you care if he punched you? You would just go, oh, I'm going to do this. And as soon as he comes out, I'm going to do that. You're going to die because you know you have the power to hurt them. And so we have to focus on getting that power to create hurt upon touch. And if you can do that, then obviously the pressure is going to go to him and not to you. Hope that helped.
Yeah, that was good. That was good, Sifu. So real quick, I'm gonna address some of the other stuff that came through. Dominic, since we don't have a whole lot of people on, you can just go ahead and put everything in the chat because we're able to kind of keep track of everything and whatnot.
Hey,
hold on, real quick.
Hey, Sifu.
Yeah.
Any chance? Because I know what happened to him.
He's frozen. I don't know what happened to him.
I was just looking at the.
Here we go.
Can we see if you turn your screen sideways if it changes the way you are?
Yeah, because we want to
locked up.
screen.
Oh,
There we
hey!
go. Yay.
Oh,
That's
technology. It's amazing.
that's where we need you. He's gonna
Thank
adjust.
you.
So real quick. So Dominic said, I know Sifu. Oh wait, hold on.
We gotta go all the way up to Steve.
Give me a moment because there was something I wanted to read. No, that's past Steve.
Oh, okay.
That's why. Let me do my thing, bro.
Well, then I'm just sitting here. I feel
No, you're gonna have stuff to do. Don't worry.
I don't want to do anything now.
Oh, well then just sit there.
I'm gonna sit here.
All right. Oh, so Dominic said you just added yourself to a watch list somewhere, Larry. Don't worry, Dominic. If there is watch list, I promise you we're already on them. It's all good. I'm sure they're watching our every move. He said he's channeling the silly energy through Larry. Steve has a question regarding punching. Some videos I see first flex at wrist, then extend elbow, but some vids seem to suggest flex wrist again at the end. I think he's talking about the drive.
It works with 3-proof. Okay, every time you do it, it's going to be 3-proof. Shoulder, elbow, elbow, wrist, wrist to point. That's how you always want to deliver your energy. It's got to come from the earth. Your energy comes from the ground. So how do you get the energy from the ground? Through the rooting. Okay, the rooting. If you sink to the ground, that energy that you root from will naturally come up. Well, it doesn't have to come to your head. So if I sink, you can see it go to my head. But who says it has to go to my head? I can take it anywhere I want. And move it to any point I want. So our energy comes from the earth first. So that's got to be first. That's why whenever you move, you have to have your rooting, your sitting position. And the second thing is obviously once I sit, you can see once my body gets to that rooting, it has a nice little drop. Well, that drop is going to help my shoulders go to the elbow. Well, since I can get the energy of the elbow, I can help bring that up. And when I can bring that up, I can bring my hands and direct it where I want. So that's how you always want to drive your energy. You should never go hands first. Okay. Think of it like if I held a stick, okay? So you can see if I hold a stick like this, if someone holds here and I push here, they're going to immediately feel it. But where does the energy start first? It doesn't start here first. It starts from here first, from this point. It transfers real quickly and almost simultaneously because the connection is there. Now imagine if I have a spring in here and I push, it would compress first and then it'll start going this way once the compression stops. That's like you having a break in where your arm is. Like if I try to bring my elbow here and then I turn my wrist, but I didn't drive up. I have a weak point there. That's a compression point where that's why when you impact, it wants to collapse. So they all have to move together at the same time. But it'll start from the earth, drive to the shoulders, into the elbow, into the wrist. Just like if I had it like this. Even though he feels it, the moment I push it, it actually starts from here first and it moves this way. So there is a transfer at some point, and it has to start, like I said, earth, shoulder, elbow, wrist, then to point. So even though sometimes you can see that if I do a movement where I'm like this, you see my hands turn like this, even though it looks like you see the wrist, that's because that's what you're looking at first. So you see like, oh, I see your wrist move first. No, that's because that's what you're looking at. Because if you see it first, you would see the elbow, then the wrist. The shoulder, the elbow, then the elbow to the wrist point. That's what you would see. But most people will see what they're looking at and assume that's the first thing. That's like how magic tricks work. They make your eye see one thing when they're doing something else. It's illusion. It's the same thing if I did this and I go like this. It looks like I'm swinging my hands to the side, but I'm not. It's actually because I'm still swinging forward and I turn my body. So it's the illusion of you're looking at the hands. Yeah, it can look like my hands swinging, but relatively to my body, it's not swinging. It's my body that swings. So if you look at my hands like this and I do this, it looks like that. But if I do this, it's like, well, you're swinging your hands. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm actually using my body and still creating the forward energy through my hands. So it's always shoulder, elbow, elbow, wrist, wrist to point. That's how you always want to do it.
Awesome. Thanks, Sifu. So in regards to the previous one about Wing Chun, Robert says, so in reality, what you're saying is make Wing Chun your own. And yes, that's what we're saying. Make it your own. Your Kung Fu journey is your own.
Yes.
And do what works best for you.
Yeah. Let's take it like this. Stop calling what you do by name, because name is just a word. It's about the energy. So styles is what people start to differentiate by saying, we do it this way, we do it this way, we do it this way. And, in the end, they're all the same. I always like to say a punch is a punch is a punch is a punch. But how you punch is going to be different, okay? A punch is going to result in whether I, from the ground up to the hand. So whether I punch with my knuckles or my palm or whatever, in the end, I'm still getting the energy from the earth first. And I'm going to have to drive that energy from the earth to my hands one way or another. How I go about doing that is going to make the difference. But how to punch, like some people, like I said, like I had one guy talk about before, like I can do a nail with a hammer and hit precise, and make it go with one shot because I can get the good focus. But if I have a bigger hammer, I'm not precise, I can use more force. It might take me more time, but I still get the job done. But it came at the cost of throwing more into it without the focus. So that's why that's more or less making it work, but it's going to come at the cost of using more strength. And for some people, strength works for them because they're big and strong, so they'll rely on that. But that's only going to be applicable if the guy fights back. So for us, strength won't matter because we're never fighting back. For strength to be applied, resistance has to be present. So we never resist. We assist. I always like, don't resist, just assist. So our principle is about moving with the energy, not against the energy. Returning the force or drawing the energy away from force, but never going against it or trying to slow it down or stop it. If anything, we're going to try to accelerate it. We will not slow it down. That's why we use wrist control. So anything that comes out, that little wrist helps accelerate it up. While we have the saying, pop it, don't stop it, because we uproot them through that while downrooting us at the same time. So it gives us more power, but weakens them at the same time because of that. So these are all physics. This isn't about size and strength base. It's about physics and structure and learn how to move the difference when it's past what your structure can take. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Sifu. So next, let's see what we have. Okay, so Dominic asked, are there ways to train channeling without a partner, or does it really require life energy / a partner?
I can't hear you guys.
You can't hear us?
You guys sound like you're 10 miles away.
We're right here.
I know. Someone just called me, so I think that just disrupted
maybe that's
the sound.
Well, don't blame us, dude.
That might be why, Sifu.
I think Sifu.
Let us know when you can hear us.
The question is, are there ways to train channeling without a partner, or does it really require a low energy partner?
Yes.
There are ways you can practice channeling, of course. It's about the technique behind it. Channeling.
Turn the phone. There we go.
Channeling is technique, okay? And learning how to work with channeling with someone's energy is your experience with it. But you want to create the nice pathway to learn how to channel. And knowing the amount of energy, that's where you're going to need a partner. But for example, if you're going to do a channeling by yourself, you can practice going like this and keeping the connection. So see, I'm moving as one. I'm not moving like I'm going like this. I'm letting it spill. So one of the most important things is keeping your wrist vertical. That's a very good way of learning how to get your control first. Get your vertical. Because if you notice, when I move forward, I'm still up and bounce. But once I do this, notice how it looks like I'm spilling over and I'm going to have a natural tendency to drop. So it's very important that you keep your woo first and then do the 3-proof. And I did a lot of drills before where you practice like this, okay? And this is going to teach you how to move energy and learn how to return energy through that. So, channeling is technique. So work on technique. Knowing how to channel with someone's force, that's going to require a partner and experience. But the ability to create that pathway to channel lies in your technique. So yeah, you can practice technique on your own. That's how I did. Most of the time, I practice technique on my own. Then I would find a partner and apply it. But if you have a strong technique, then you'll be able to withstand higher pressure. So force and speed, when somebody does it too, you'll be able to take more. But if it's not as strong, then yeah, you're going to break down quicker. Okay? You guys, let's stop that. You guys get it?
Yeah, no, we're good.
Did it hurt?
Thank you, Mark.
How does it hurt?
Yeah, change.
And so, no.
Come on, keep it clean.
Actually, let's just talk about it from now over. Okay, we'll try. So
Very professional you are, Sifu.
I can't hear you guys. Let me disconnect and reconnect.
Okay.
Can I open with more than one device?
There we go. Can I open this?
I don't know.
I believe you can, Melanie, but I don't know 100%. You can give it a shot because I don't think it goes by your email. I think it just goes by you clicking the link on that particular device, so you should be able to. Let us know, though. That'll be a good thing to test out. All right, so while we're waiting on Sifu, is there any questions that you have about the site or how to use the site or anything that you want to ask me or Sifu Larry?
I can get my guitar and just jam.
You can get your guitar. Do you have a guitar?
No, it's not in the house.
Oh, Sifu's coming back. There you are. We can't hear you.
And turn the camera sideways.
All right, I can hear you guys.
All right. There we go. All right, cool. So Sifu is back.
Guess what? I have a surprise guest.
Melanie, no, a video editor does not have to be local because, you know, thanks to the internet, we're able to obviously transfer files and stuff like that. So if you know someone or
Hector.
talking about you, hey, Hector, how's it going, bro?
Well, a little too close. A little too much
He's
love.
giving him some love. If you want, email me at support@entershaolin.com, Melanie, and we'll talk about that. Okay, so what's up, Hector?
We got a new person. Hector likes to get hurt, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you how rooting and bone conditioning helps take pain. So I'm going to hit Hector, and he's going to hit me as hard as he can. And we'll see who breaks first.
All right, awesome. So Terry Hall asked, please explain.
Oh, it's like I'm doing a webinar.
Okay, Terry Hall asked how to control the opponent's energy when arm wrestling.
Oh, right. Okay. I use arm wrestling as a way of explaining three-proof very, very well. Okay. Why do we do three-proof? Sort of goes elbow, elbow goes wrist, wrist goes to point. Okay. I'm speaking kind of fast. So, okay. If you ever notice when you arm wrestle, why do we always push our elbow into the table? Because when we push our elbow on the table pushes back, that force comes up, and we can use that to get our power. So as long as he does this, take you down, he can do that, right? So see this, right? So do it again. If I take away his elbow power, he cannot turn his wrist. This is why you have to drive your shoulders in a combat situation down to your elbow, because the more you can push down to your elbow, the more force that elbow can push up to your hand. Now here's a secret. I taught my daughter how to do this, and she was able to be poised. The key is getting that shoulder down to the elbow and the elbow up. That's going to give you your drive. But what gives you the advantage is, take me down. If I go like this, he can do it, right? But when I turn the wrist, see? The ability to turn your wrist is what I don't know if you can see it, but he's going to push me this way. When I feel the energy this way, I'm going to take it. I'm going to convert it to the back side from my thumb side. I'm going to invade it from the thumb to the pinky and turn it into his wrist. Once his wrist turns away, his energy goes back into him. So the more force he pushes into me, the more he's going to feel come back. Now, if the guy knows he's doing too, he can counter turn his wrist. Then it comes out who's better at the wrist with the strength behind it too. Okay, so if he's taking me, and he's just straight. This is where strength to strength can match. But when I turn, okay? Andy, can I use you?
He's too much finesse.
I got a student here who's really big.
He's really big.
So we're gonna hit as hard as we can on his chest to see how much he can take. So okay, I'm gonna do arm wrestling techniques. So you can see the guns. Okay, these are not just like.
Come on, Andy, you can do it.
What do I walk into? Come on, Larry. You should warn me.
Buddy.
Thank you.
Can you take me down on arm wrestling? Take me down. See, he, okay, do it again. If I fight, he feels your strength, right? Do it again.
22-inch python,
No,
gone.
don't stop that. Do it.
Okay.
Come on, take me. You see, once I turn his wrist, it's hard for him to be able to do it, especially if I hold here. I'll give him that power to take that, so do it. You see, I turn the wrist. By manipulating the wrist, you can control the force. That's why in combat, our wrist is our control. Our arms are our structure and our power, but our wrist is our control in that power. So think of it like the arm, like the bullet, the gunpowder, the barrel, right? Our wrist is where we point the barrel to make it hit or miss. So, you know, in the end, it's your base and your barrel and alignment to the target that's going to make the hit. So you have your base. If you have weak base, even if I point my gun to a target, like I'm pointing at him, but I have the base go this way, it's going to change that, and that's going to ruin it. So you have to have a steady base, and then you have to have your focus, and then you shoot, and then the guy's dead. Okay? But if your focus is off, then your aim is going to be off, and it's not going to work well. So our wrist is like the sight of a gun. It's our focus to drive the energy. Our arm is what gives us our power, because right, shoulder feeds the elbow, so the elbow has the energy, so then they can feed the wrist, and then the wrist can be utilized to do whatever it needs to do. Great example is always like this. This isn't hurt, so he's not going to die. And we won't but you know, if I just did this, push into me, okay? I just do this. This is force on force. And if I hit him, yeah, if I'm stronger, I can win. So what happens if he's stronger? He'll push into me. That's where the wrist comes into play, because I can turn the energy. I'm not fighting it. This is structure to maintain so I don't collapse under pressure. So yes, I want to have structure so I don't collapse. But the wrist job is to take his pressure so it doesn't go into me. Otherwise, push into me, I go against him, and he can win because of that. So the wrist job is to take pressure off of me, while the arm job is to put pressure on the opponent. So if he pushes into me, then now he goes off and I can come in. And so that's why when you arm wrestle or you do the 3-proof, you want to use that as your arm wrestle. You want to base down, and when you feel him push your arm, take the pressure that you feel that's going in your hand, rotate, yield to the thumb, because he's naturally going to try and turn your thumb down. So when you yield to your thumb, you're going to convert it to your pinky at the same time, and you wouldn't vase. So think of balance. You can't drop your thumb, then go your pinky. You're going to create an imbalance. And that's the same thing when we parry something. We create imbalance. It's no good. So at the same time, I'm yielding. Here, let's do this side. So you can see right here. At the same time, he's taking my hand down. You see how my hand's going down on the thumb here? Once that comes down, I'm going to feel the energy go. I'm going to convert it right into his wrist. So as he takes me down, do it again. You see how he has a hard time now? But do it again. You see, I didn't turn my wrist. I just fought him. So when he tries to push his hand towards my hand, I'm going to convert that energy right back into his wrist. Because once I control the wrist, I can take his force from him. I can actually turn the energy back. I'm not fighting it against his energy directly. I'm actually channeling the energy back to him. And that's the wrist control.
Awesome. Good stuff. Okay. So this question is for me. So I will answer this one. Steve was asking if there was a better way.
He's not married.
No, I'm not married. I am single. I'm not married to that Sifu or this Sifu.
Married.
That's not the question, Sifu. So the question was, or he's just basically making a statement that he wished the site was more searchable. So the reason it's not more searchable, we wish it was, where you could search the actual lessons via the search. You can search keywords, which will come up in the weekly updates, which will then take you to the lessons. But the reason why is the actual lessons are behind a wall for members, and that makes it where it's not searchable by the WordPress native search. Now, as we make more money, we are going to pay for that to get fixed. But right now we don't have the extra cash for that. But there is another way you can search. So like, let's say you go to Wing Chun and you were looking for, let me think, solo training. You could do Control F if you are on a Windows based computer, or Command F if you are on a Mac computer, and a little search bar is going to come up, and you could just type in solo, and then it will literally take you to all the stuff that's about solo. If you were looking for footwork and the Ngo Dac Na section, for instance, you could type in footwork, and the same thing will happen. So that's kind of a hack on how you can do that. So hopefully that will help Steve and anyone else that's been curious about that as well. All right, let's see.
You could ask me that question. I could have answered it for you.
All right, so the next one is Sifu. In the area of the Ngo Dac Na 101, can you show a piston punch for us?
Want me to hit someone?
Yeah, probably Andy.
You should probably. Sorry, Andy.
I'm going to use Andy because he's a one.
You can't have the booze and not get hit. I mean.
Yeah. No.
I get to hold the pad.
No. I don't hold pads.
Oh, we're doing the pad.
I get full blood. Here. Yo, I don't hold pads.
You do it then.
Hector don't hold pads. Come on, Andy. You're bigger than Hector. You can take it.
Yeah, but
A piston shot requires
come on.
requires two things to do well, right? Speed and focus. Okay. In terms of the technique, the 3-proof: shoulder, elbow, wrist, wrist to point. One of the biggest things when you guys learn how to hit a pad is forget how to hit hard. Stop doing that, because our mindset when we think hard, we think strength. So if we do it like this, I won't hit hard, but hold tight. Okay. It's like people often they throw their weight, and once you do that, you create unfocus. So when you do this, your body might tilt a little bit, and you're gonna want to hit it down. You might just want to scrape it. Our job, like I always like to say, is like a knife. Think of piercing. I'll keep it light. But when I do this, I pierce. Okay, you notice I go in like I'm stabbing someone, and I withdraw. Harder. Right? Sam, you want to hold this? I got someone who's harder. Here, you can let go. No, he's not gonna cry about it. This is a real man.
Get in there.
So when we do a piston shot, it's about getting the acceleration at the moment of impact. If you're hitting with force being constant, then you have to muscle, because obviously for every action, opposite equal reaction. So if you hit it with a force being big, you're going to get more return of energy. So you want to keep it small so you have less return of energy. So that's the focus of that reason. Okay? Top 2 knuckles. I go like this. I'll give it light. But I'm going to give it hard, but I won't do it right. I'm going to show you unfocused energy and put one leg in front of the other. So I'm like this. How's that? Call me a nothing. Now I'm going to show him what nothing feels like. So we're going to get the focus. Top 2,
full black.
tight here. Ready? Just in.
No, harder. I want to see a full, like,
Okay?
50%.
But you
60.
see, can you feel that? The pad won't stop because the acceleration what draws the energy. It wants to keep the energy going. But if my force is constant, as soon as I make contact, for every action, opposite reaction, because if I hit a big target, I'm going to have more energy return to me. So like I said, focus is the key. Make it small so you have less return, but more drive in the point. That's why you can pierce. Like think of something this fat, by pushing this pad, the whole thing compresses. But if I can put a finger and put enough force, I'm going to put a hole in that point. Hitting is the same. Put a hole in the point. Focus small. Keep everything tight and relax. Most people like, they go like, oh. You can see I'm tensing. You can see the intent. Relax. Gravity, let, push forward, and then I'm done. I don't try. I just let. It's not about hitting hard. It's about hitting right.
That's the wow.
You got to change your mindset of, I got to feel like I can move the guy. Really, I tell people, try to hit him and not move him, but get them to drop. So I'm not trying to move him away from me. I want him to stand there and go, oh, and want to drop. That's a sign of good penetration power. If you got a guy who hits and he moves backwards, like, okay, here you go. And he just moves backwards. It moved him, but it didn't affect him because it didn't pierce him. This doesn't hurt him. I can move him like this, but he doesn't feel it. Okay, it's what we call I'm blanking. Wait. Impact value. Okay, the impact value is how much energy can go into the body before the body can react to it. So if I'm doing this and I have my impact value where I'm hitting and his body can take it and I have to drive, even though I move back, his body created resistance to it. But if I'm like this, and you can see how you can hear the air come out. I don't know if you can hear it, but you can hear air come out of his body because that went in before his body can create resistance. So you want a high impact value. Okay, you want to put the energy in before the body has time to create resistance. So if I'm doing this, you see, I'm going. You can see his body create, but I'll just hear. You can hear the air. Maybe you can't from there, but you can. I can hear it from here, but. You want to create penetrating power by coming in before the body can react. And if you could do that, imagine if I'm stabbed with a knife and his body can yield to it. Of course, it's not going to penetrate, but if I can pierce him, then he can't yield. It's going to go through. Punching is no different than stabbing a knife. Okay? Hit precise with acceleration, not just speed. You want acceleration. So I'm not hitting just fast like this. Like that's fast, but it didn't have acceleration upon the impact. And how do you accelerate that? This is my acceleration power. Do you see it? That's my acceleration power. This is my speed with acceleration, but at a certain point, remember, acceleration kind of stops after a few inches. So about 3 inches at the most, they say, you stop accelerating. You start becoming just forward energy. So yes, here's my forward energy, right? So you can see this. I'm not going to go any faster. So you can see what I'm doing here. But I accelerate that because of the wrist in the end. That wrist is what gives me acceleration. So we use the arm to create speed, but we gain acceleration through the wrist after. So yeah, it's like imagine yourself running and throwing a javelin, and then you're in a bus, a convertible bus, and it's going 50 miles an hour, and you're at the back of the bus, and then you run forward and throw it. You would have more throwing power because you got the force of the bus, which is like my arm, and then you got your own arm throwing, which is like your wrist. So you use your wrist to gain that acceleration while you get speed from the arm. I'm done.
That's good. Good. All right, so I'm going to answer this next one. Tom, he's wanting to know how new members wanting to partner up, how they should train. And I've actually talked to numerous members about this. Use the Ngo Dac Na 101 course because it's going to take you through A to Z. So if they're a member as well, or even if they're not, encourage them to join. You can become an affiliate at entershaolin.com/affiliate, Tom, and have them sign up under your link so you can get a little bit of commission for when they do sign up. And they can just sign up for the Ngo Dac Na 101 course, or if you want to work on other stuff outside of that, encourage them to join at least as a junior too. And then go through the Ngo Dac Na 101 course with them on a week-to-week basis, because it's going to literally build up both of your skills incrementally. That's what it's there for. It's meant to be used as a curriculum. So that's a perfect thing to use in a partner situation.
I saw the question. What's the difference between MC and keeping the focus on the point? The difference, MC is controlling energy, whereas you have focal point, you're using it to attack. So that's one of the things. Yeah, MC is for controlling someone's force when they're flying.
Do you have a call coming in? Because there's this weird buzzing noise going on.
Yeah, I got it. My daughter just called me.
All right, can you start over because you were cutting in and out? Can you start over on what you were saying?
MC is to control energy, while focusing energy is using it to attack. So that's the main thing. Jeez, everyone's calling me. You're popular. I gotta check out and then come back in because I lost you guys again. I can't hear you guys.
Okay, Sifu.
All
right, it's back to the Jamie and Larry show now. All right, so let me see if there's any other stuff. What are you doing?
Nothing.
All right, let's see. Dominic, I'm still on the Ngo Dac Na 101.
Hey.
Hey, Sifu.
All right.
I'm still on the first week of Ngo Dac Na 101 course, first week. When I make it to week 2, yes, you still have access to everything. And week 1, even if you're in week 30 and you want to go back, we encourage you, Dominic, to go back and test out your skill and build it, because you're not going to get something the first time, even the 10th time, and probably not even the 100th time. So always keep reworking on your skill.
All right, any other questions?
Thanks, Robert, for being on. We appreciate it. Let's see. Melanie, let's see, I did use a different email. I don't think so, Melanie, because our affiliate program is independent of the website, but I will get with you after this and help you get that taken care of. Let me see. I think we have a couple things in email. Okay, so our member Russell sent this in, and he says, in developing the piston punch exercise, when I project my punch through the elbow to the wrist and I turn my center to accommodate, I feel like I'm not rotating in my center. Similar to the beginning of the jong form set 1A, when projecting the energy to the wrist, am I supposed to turn on center and put my weight on the left? If it's a left piston punch?
Questions, I can answer that. When you're doing a piston shot, you can turn, but you have to understand, you have to keep everything in center, in balance. So, for example, if I'm punching and I want to turn my hip, let's say, I don't want to turn. What a lot of people make the mistake is, let me see if I can fix this camera. You can see it better this way, okay? But a lot of people will turn, and they'll turn and hit like this, but they might throw their energy back more than they are forward. So you have to watch how you're turning your center, because some people pivot from this. Now, obviously, if I pivot from this, right, I'm going to push more forward than I go backwards. Or if I pivot from here, I'm going to go more backwards than I do forward. Both create an imbalance. Think of a propeller on a plane, right? As long as it's balanced and it spins, it'll be fine, okay? But if I was more like this, the force is going to throw it off on the stronger side, and the weaker side can't get it. And that's the same thing. You got to watch where you're pivoting, because if you're pivoting from more here, you're going to pull away more than you're going to drive forward, and you're going to feel that backwards pull on you. And if you punch something and you go more forward, you're going to feel like you compress too much, because you went forward too much and you didn't have enough to create a counterforce to yield, so you can use that yielding energy to create driving energy. You actually are trying to use your size and weight because you're imbalanced because of that. So remember, what you lack in skill, you make them in strength. Every time you feel a strain in your body, you're off your balance, you're off your alignment somewhere. And so you got to pay attention to that. That's why the first thing you want to do when you practice piston shots is just stand neutral. Develop the hand first. Just develop this, right? And then you could do it with, for example, sitting in a step. So I could just walk with that. But so you can see, I don't want to do this. Like, see, I'm throwing versus knowing how to still stay centered when I move and hit. Now, later on, you can learn to turn, but again, you have to find that center point turn. If I'm turning from here, you can see I'm moving more away, whereas I'm moving evenly. So you have to find that balance in how you do it, okay? Whenever you feel straining, somewhere along the lines, 1 point's weaker than the other, or 1 point stronger than the other. Depends on where you want to look at it. But you have to keep it so both sides, like a propeller spinning, you know, as long as it's perfectly balanced, you could go as fast as you want on that propeller and you won't feel vibration. You know, the two things that's terrible for a motor is vibration and heat, okay? And if it has to fight because it's imbalanced, it's going to create vibration and it's going to cause the engine to work harder to try to stabilize, and it's cost more energy and it's going to create more heat and blah, blah, blah. So you want to find that center point when you move. If you find it, whatever you yield can be converted to the forward energy. But if you yield more than you go forward, then you got more going backwards and forward. And you do more, like, well, what happens if I put more forward? If you have more forward, you don't have anything to yield to resistance. And that's what you want to set. That's what's going to give you the yield to resistance, while the other side is going to give you the drive to resistance. So it's very important that you do that. I'm down to 5% of my battery, so I got to get a charger, unless we're almost done.
You gotta, well, we have a couple more questions, and since we started a little bit late, can you go grab your charger?
Yeah, Andy here is going to answer any question. He's got over 12 years of martial arts. So here, his expertise.
He's like, I think not. Hey, Andy. Don't worry. We'll have this seafood built in. You're fine.
Larry is the expert.
So Andy, demonstrate one of the animal styles.
No, me?
Hey, Melanie. I'm glad the light bulb came back on.
Having some entertainment.
We have
That's words.
entertainment. We're just
Entertainment to see
enjoying our Enter Shaolin. Hey, Melanie, I'm glad that the light came on that, about keeping the center as a pivot. That's awesome. And for those of you that are not checking the chat, I did send the link over for the Patreon for Enter Shaolin if you want to become one of our patrons and help us to grow faster. Thank you in advance. And I also put our P.O. box if you want to send us some fan mail, some family mail, and some love. We'll be glad to have that. We're actually checking our P.O. box much more frequently now since everyone's starting to send us some stuff. Before we weren't sending it because no one, or checking it like what, every 6 months?
Well, no, we weren't checking it at all, dude, because
no, we weren't checking
I would get emails saying you owe us money. Oh no, they would just cancel our PO box.
It was every 6 months we would go and check it out. But now we're checking it frequently because people are starting to send us.
Andy enlightened you guys. He taught you how to levitate, right? Because that's what he's teaching you now. So you guys are enlightened?
All right, so second question from Russell. I originally joined Enter Shaolin to train the Tai Chi, and because the school was learning that he was learning from was closing the doors. But since joining, I trained in multiple areas: NDN, Tai Chi, Wing Chun, Qigong. Some days I feel like I don't make progress because my focus is spread out to too many different areas, but I feel my understanding of how everything is working together is better. What do you recommend to focus in one area or until complete, then train in other, or multiple? We actually answered this the other day in a Q&A, but go ahead, Sifu.
Well, it depends on you, okay? It depends on what, I always tell my students, like some people say, should I just take Wing Chun or Tai Chi, or can I take, it depends on what you're capable of learning. So that's gonna come down to you. Now, if you find that you're lost, then it might be too much for you. But personally, and I was answering this to somebody else on the site, forget styles, forget names. They are just words. Focus on energy. That's what you're learning. That's the universal thing. Whether you do boxing, whether you do a Muay Thai, whether you do karate, judo, it's about energy. It's about learning how to control energy. And that's the universal key factor in any style you do. And that's what we do. We are about the energy. That's why our motto is don't let style define you, let energy refine you. So it's forget trying to do this style, that style, trying to do this. Think about how to control the energy. Did I just knock him over when I waved my hand like this? I didn't know my chi.
Your chi is so strong. You just knocked Sifu Larry over like you're not even here. No,
that choke. I did that 10 minutes ago. It must have. I'm gonna knock Larry over, and it just happened. I can't believe it. No.
That was amazing.
It's about the energy, and I know that and we all feel. Anybody who trains in martial arts are gonna feel a peak point. I always say to people, the training is like this in their learning curve. When they start from here, they'll learn a lot, okay? And they'll feel like they gain a lot. Then they'll peak, okay? And the reason why you start to peak is because what was new to you is now kind of like old to you. And you don't realize it, but it's not, you don't have it down yet. And your body's learning how to refine it. And it's hard for you. Everything that you're learning is based upon what you're building now. So once your body starts to get it, then you'll start to build higher, and then you'll plateau, and then you're going to build higher, and you'll plateau. That's just how it is in learning, you know? Think of when you go to school, you know? Every day you're learning a little bit, but you're using the basics to still go over what you do, and you're going to add to that. And that's how I teach too. I go over basics, I teach a technique, I teach several techniques that are basic, and then I build upon that, using that basic, and I build. And then they're going to feel like, yeah, I learned, and then I feel like I'm stuck because I'm mixing like 10 different basic techniques for them to learn how to interchange them. And it feels like you're not getting it because your body learned one thing at a time. Now you're doing 4 things at a time. And then eventually your body gets it. And then you learn something newer and you build. And that's just how it is all the time. And Melanie, you're a teacher, so go ask your students. They're going to say the same thing to you. Sometimes I feel like I'm hitting a plateau. It's because you're not learning anything new and getting anything new. You're trying to perfect what you've learned. And so, yeah, it may not feel like anything new. And Sifu and Larry have the same problem. Believe it or not, we had this talk like many, many years ago. And he's like, I feel like I'm not learning anything. I feel like
yeah.
body's learning it. And soon enough, within like a week or two, he got into a fight with 4 guys who jumped him. Or was it 5 guys?
I think Sifu, I still grovel on the ground saying I don't understand what's going on. Yeah. I think that's a regular conversation over the decades, actually, huh?
You're still learning.
I'm still learning.
Yeah, there's no end.
I'm still learning. Even I learn. You know, I'm still getting better with my energy control. Yeah, I'm up there high, but you know what? I still can get better. Okay, I still practice to get better. You know what they say? When you think you know it all, you do know it all because you won't want to learn from anybody else. You're like, I know. So you can't learn past that because you won't accept anything new. So you got to humble yourself and realize that you are getting better. You might not jump leaps and bounds because in the beginning, like I said, when you know nothing, you learn all the stuff. It feels like leaps and bounds because you went from nothing to a lot. But then you're going to go from that and try and perfect it and learn a little bit more. And that's where it feels like you're sluggish. If you get that and then you start to learn new stuff. Oh, yeah, it was great. Oh. And that's where you're always going to feel like you're going to learn. But that slow part is your body trying to perfect what you're learning. And that's why it feels like you're not doing anything.
Amoeba.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll even add to that, you know, for Russell and Melanie, you know, follow the Ngo Dac Na 101 course because it is broken down chunk by chunk in a way to help you understand why you're learning these different things. And really, like Sifu said, stop worrying about, well, it's this style or it's that style. It's all just energy principles. And by learning these different things, you're going to be able to do stuff at, you know, different rate. Yeah, look, see, there you go. He's practicing right now. Practice anytime.
Advanced.
Right? But yeah, don't get stuck in the box of the styles and just realize you're learning different energy principles to help you become a more well-rounded martial artist to be able to handle all kinds of different environments. Next question from Russell, and this is kind of a sad one. He says, my grandmaster does not want me to teach what I learned from him to others until he promotes me to 3rd degree. He has closed his doors on the gym. I no longer train under him. I feel like I need to share what I've learned to my son and hopefully other students. How do you feel about this? We feel like you should be sharing and because it's going to help you to understand your principles better when you regurgitate that information to other people. Are you comfortable of me teaching what I learned from Enter Shaolin to others as I learned them? I know my answer is yes. What is your Sifu?
What you saw me doing was wax on, wax off, and then advanced.
Right.
That's what I did. But in terms of teaching what you learn, it's a come down to your more issue of whether you want to respect your teacher's wishes and not do it.
Well, you're not training under him anymore. He's not training under him anymore.
It doesn't matter. He still asked him. If he asked him, he said, "Yeah, I won't do it." Then he has to.
No, he's not talking about. He's talking about what he's learning from us now. Because he wants to know our perspective on that because he came from a school where they were like, no, until you're X level, you can't teach anyone.
Of course, pass the knowledge on.
Pass the knowledge on. Yes,
that's how systems can get better and last for generations.
It's how he's going to get better too, because by teaching and regurgitating that information, it's going to help you retain that information better.
Yeah, of course. If you're asking for my blessing, you have it. If you want to teach your son, you have it. Okay, just don't teach strangers that you don't know. You know, because I don't like people who aren't learning from the system, acknowledging it and saying, oh, I took, like, for example, judo or whatever, and they say, oh, yeah, I'm going to use it and apply it. This is my style. This is how I develop it. No, it's Ngo Dac Na. As long as I give credit, that's fine. Give credit due where credit is due.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, you're good. And Russell said he's sorry that he couldn't be on this webinar, but he looks forward to being on other ones.
I thought he was on. Didn't he just ask the question?
No,
We had three questions.
Yeah, we had people email us if they couldn't make it. Tom says, show me wax the car.
Yeah, I did that. I did.
You did. Remember, I said, look, here's advanced. You got the feet. I'm waxing the car with 3 points.
Let's see here if we have any more before we close up, because we are about to be hitting an hour right now. All right, so Catherine says, I've heard Sifu talk about focusing your energy to a point. There's also the idea of MC, LC. Yeah, okay. Well, this came through my email, so I don't know if she sent it.
Yeah, I can see it right here. It says we did that one. She just wrote, and I saw.
Oh, okay. When punching, what's the difference between the flush hit and hitting with the top knuckles or hitting with the bottom knuckles? Why or when would you use one over the other?
A flush hit is basically the manner in which you hit. The top 2 knuckles, the points in which you hit. So you can hit flush with the top 2 knuckles. You can hit flush with your elbow. Flush is the principle of getting on point. What you hit with, that's what you got to hit with point. So if it's top 2 knuckles, if it's your palm, if it's your elbow, if it's your shoulders. In other words, like if I'm hitting like this, flush is about getting right here and not creating any sliding points. So if I'm hitting, I'm not doing this. That doesn't look flush, does it? It looks like I'm sliding. Flush is 2 points. I do it with my palm, 2 points, 2 points. So flush is about not allowing what I call the aftermath, where you feel like you're sliding off once you hit that point. Hello?
Yep. Sorry, I unmute myself so that way, they just hear you and there's no feedback going on. All right, that's awesome. So Dominic asked, are there any specifications for the Mook Jong dimensions in case he wants to build one himself? Do you know?
Well, you can go online and look for dimensions on the Jong.
Google is your friend.
Yeah. One thing I always like to say is minimum width base on the body is 8 inches minimum. Okay. Anything small than that, it gets too tiny for your fist to land, and stuff like that. You want at least 8 inches around a diameter for the Jong. Okay. And for the arms, one of the things is you want to make sure the arms are squared, not rectangular or circular. You want it squared.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to have that play. The arm's supposed to have play, just like when you hit, it's going to have a little bit of play when you hit someone. So you want to have the Jong that has play. What I mean that is mobility up, down, left, right, and forward and backward. That's what you want to keep in mind. And you want to make sure that it's squared, because when you turn the arms, you can set the different heights in the arms because of that.
All right, I think that's good. Thank you, everyone that was able to attend and those that sent in questions to us in advance. We appreciate it, and we hope you all enjoyed our first members webinar Q&A. Tom says it was fun. It was fun for us too. So we're gonna get this recording out to everyone as soon as we can, and we'll see you guys next week, same time. All right, bye everyone.
Thanks, guys.